Good evening. I'm very happy today to welcome a great talent, Carlia Capozza. She's an actress and also producer working behind and in front of the camera. Hi, Carlia. How's everything?
Hi, good. How are you?
Is this Italian, your name?
Yeah, Italian.
Very nice, very nice. But I think you tell me a little bit about your background and your interest into acting and performing. How did this start with you?
Yeah, I think I've been like most people, been performing since I was a kid. You know, when you're little, when you make up shows and want to show your parents all these different shows that you're creating. So that's where I started. I also started in dancing. So I was 2.5. I had two older sisters who danced, and I needed to do it immediately. So once I was at the appropriate age,
Yes,
I started dancing, and yeah, just haven't stopped since. And then from dancing, I kind of
yes.
fell in love with acting. Probably when I was about 12, 13 years old.
This is great. And I've seen that you are based in Australia, right?
Yes, that's right, in Melbourne, Australia. So I was actually born in Adelaide, which is only an hour
Can
flight
you hear
away.
me?
Yeah,
In Melbourne.
yeah, I'm based in Melbourne. Yes.
Yes, yes. And tell me, yeah. Tell me a little bit. Right now, recently, I've seen that you have many releases, films, and one of them is called Godless, and it's about exorcism, and I think I've seen plenty of movies about exorcism. So tell me a little bit about your role in this film and why it was interesting for you to co-star in this film.
Yeah, of course. So this film is made by Visible Studios, Nick Kazakis, who is also my
Hello?
husband. Yeah, so can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Um,
yes, very well.
yeah. Great. So I actually was the
Yes, I
first
can hear you.
AD. I was the first AD on this film. So my acting role is very small. I don't know if you'll notice in the film. So I play a police officer, and I was really lucky to work alongside John Wood, who is one of Australians' icons, really. So it was an amazing experience. But as I was acting in the film, I had my earpiece, my crew earpiece. So I'd call my own action as the first AD, get into the scene, and then once I hear cut, then I'll go back and then do my AD job, run around, and then back into the scene. So that was a crazy experience, kind of balancing both at the same time.
This is great. Tell me, any out of earth or a strange event that happened during the filming of this of this
Yeah,
movie.
well,
Because,
because of an exorcism film, yeah, you do think weird things would happen, and they
uh-huh.
did. As we were filming the actual exorcism scenes in the shed,
Yes,
it was December, so summer, usually sunny, beautiful days, and we just
yes.
had one set of thunderstorms, rain, absolutely crazy. And the one moment where Tim would say, I think he said, "Exercise the devil," and raise his hand, and we heard
Uh-huh.
this like thunderstorm come through at the same time, and we were like, "Oh gosh, that's very creepy."
Yes, yes. Have you?
Lots of little
Yeah, yeah.
things. Our lead actor, we had to change accommodation, I think maybe 2 or 3 times. She'd go in one and there were millipedes, and she'd go in another, and she was, and bugs would fall on top of her, like just crazy things that the poor thing had to go through. She already had a struggle. So little things like that. One of the scenes, we think that they were termites, but it wasn't planned, is we've got the congregation praying outside, and there were just bugs everywhere. Like as soon as we left the garage, we were like, oh my goodness, this is insane. We have to get a camera up and film this. So lots of little moments like that. And I think our favorite, creepiest moment is our dailies editor, Liam, who was editing the Exorcism film, has never had a blood nose, or very rarely had a blood nose. And as he's editing the film, then his nose would not stop bleeding. And then as soon as Nick came in and took over the edit, his nose stopped bleeding.
Yes, but thank God you completed the film anyway. You know, accidentally, last week, I'm Egyptian, but I live in Ecuador here, Latin America. My wife is Colombian. And like I've seen all the time the new releases on digital, on cinema. And there was a new film, recently out on digital called Chaman. Okay, and it takes place here in Ecuador. I think it was shot here as well. It's an American film, and it was about exorcism as well, and but it takes place among the indigenous people, and my wife, we saw it together. Sometimes she doesn't want to see horror films with me, but she told me it's very it's very realistic. I mean, related to the inherited, stuff here among indigenous people, because sometimes they practice something similar like exorcism, in a similar way, they make people eat some stuff, or do some rituals as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
but
that's what
thank
Godless is about too, which is
yes,
inspired by true events. It's a woman who suffered from schizophrenia, hypomania, and was
yes,
wrongly diagnosed really by her husband and the church, and that they perform these unsanctioned exorcisms. And yeah, it's
yes.
pretty sad what happens out there.
Yes, I don't know if you have seen the original Exorcist that was released in the early 70s. Have you seen it?
No,
No?
I know it was a reference, but we definitely tried to steer clear from the Exorcist, the
Yes.
spinning heads, all that kind of crazy stuff. This is more real and grounded.
Yeah. Believe it or not, before we move to other film views, there is a YouTube channel, a British gentleman who is analyzing films and specifically scenes and aesthetics, and continuity stuff. And he did a lot of videos about Exorcist, and one of the theories that the child, that Linda Blair played, in the 70s, his interpretation that it was not like haunted by an evil spirit or some, it was, I think, like exposed to some kind of, child molestation, but by one of the friends of childhood trauma by one of the friends of her mother, and if you try to rewatch the film, you start to view it from another angle. I mean, okay, but it was based on some true stories, in the early 70s. But right now, tell me, because I've seen you have a lot of releases this year. One of them is First Moon, and you play a character called Tegan. That's correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
tell me a little bit about this character, and I know you are in the early stage of your career, but if you have some angle or criteria you choose your character, to play. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I think being in Melbourne, I think the horror industry is probably the biggest right now, I guess, for an indie
Yes.
filmmaker. So that's
Uh-huh.
kind of where I lean towards. Not because I love watching horror, like it took me a long time to actually enjoy the art of horror because I'm a scaredy cat. But now I'm getting a lot better at watching it because I just appreciate like how much work goes into creating horrors. So First Moon,
Yes.
I'm really lucky to know the director, big friends with the director as well. And Tegan is the first death. Like in most horrors, you have the opening scene, which is so intriguing to be the very first moment and the first thing that audience is seeing is Tegan being chugged in a bathtub, and then the story kind of that Tegan does kind of come in and out here and there, just trying to wake up the other person, the lead character in the film, just to be like, just shake her like I'm trying to help you, but she can't see me or hear me, which is also really hard to play. When we had a scene where the actor was just walking past me, and I'm a ghost really, and I'm just like yelling at them, being like, oh, turn around. Yeah, but it was good. It was really good fun and nice to support indie filmmakers too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. since you are in Australia, there are very few horror films, by the way, coming from Australia. But they are classics. You know strongly. I mean, every 5 or 10 years, there is a big one, and it makes a lot of waves in Europe and in America. uh, you know. Uh, but I think right now also shooting horror films are easier because of digital cameras, and special effects. Before I think most of them were practical effects. I'm laughing because yesterday I was talking to my wife about a classic film, horror film, real horror from Italy, by the way, early 80s. It was called Cannibal Holocaust, and at the time, it was about cannibals in the here nearby in the Amazon. And it's a true story. The director, it was arrested, and because the scenes it was made, the cannibal scenes, it was done by practical shots, and
Yeah.
they thought at the time, they were real human, and they arrested him.
Oh
You
my
can read
goodness.
about it more.
That's crazy. Wow.
And right now the movie is a cult film, but really you can watch it once, and if you fast forward it will be better.
Yeah, it's
Tell
pretty
me a
crazy
little
what
bit
we can get up to.
crazy, yes. Tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about your other work in theater, and how is right now the theatrical scene in Australia and basically in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think obviously COVID killed everything, especially with theatre. It was a really sad time for the whole world, really. But I really do think, yeah, we're coming back and we're coming back alive. And theatre's always been a really big part of the Melbourne industry as
Yes,
well. And although I'm
yes,
more based in film and screen, I think theatre is something I definitely want to get back into as well, because I did do quite a few theatre shows, obviously growing up, and then in my adult years, I have a friend who has a theatre company, so any
hmm,
opportunity I get to get on stage, because I just love the rehearsal process of theatre. You have that character
yes,
development really building, whereas on a film set, especially for a role like teaching, for example, there's no rehearsal. You just rock up to set. You've done all your prep on your own, and then you get to set and you have to interact with these characters and actors that you haven't worked with before. So the process of theatre, working with the actors together, rehearsing for months is a real privilege.
yes. Many Australian actors made it to Europe and Hollywood. Of course, Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman. Do you think at a certain stage of your career you would like to work in America or move to be based there later on?
Yeah, of course. I think, it's always nice to have a big dream and, dream big, even though the industry just knocks you down so many times.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I'm really lucky to have a base in Australia. So I think my plan would always be to have a base here,
Hmm.
go to America, film there for however long, but then always coming back to home.
Yes. Yes, and Australia also they shot very important film. I think Matrix and Titanic were shot in Australia, so and as well, of course, Mad Max film.
Yeah.
But I see you've been working really on Jimmy Kimmel show as a producer. This is correct.
Hmm.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
yeah, that's right. So that kind of happened last minute. That was a crazy experience with Cones and I. So I
Hmm.
think we almost found out maybe a couple of days before that it was happening. So we all kind of got together at Visible Studios and all our crew, Tim Whiting, our producer, Nick Kazakis, Liam Kelly, directors,
Hmm.
uh, just got together and just really muscled down and tried to create this something magic. So we were at Mornington Peninsula, and we only had, I think, maybe one or two takes for that, because of course it's live. We need to cut through and have it ready right away. So that the pressure, the rehearsal process, and making sure everything was right, and I'm running around in a million different departments, making sure that sound's looked after, and making sure our crew look after, and our cameras are all standing by, and that was a
Hmm.
wild experience, but really, really grateful, because how cool to say that our work was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, yeah. I was maybe 10 years ago in Los Angeles, and I was invited, to the lounge on the backstage. There is a lounge, and usually a lot of artists and actors, they go there during the filming because it's filmed early and then it's broadcast at later, 6 hours later. I think we were there maybe 1 or 2 p.m. and Mickey Rourke. I remember very well Mickey Rourke and Eric Roberts. What there was with his dogs, and stuff like that. Tell me, right now, because you did a lot of short films, and do you think they give a little bit of exposure to your talent and give you opportunities to do, the feature length films?
Yeah, of course. And the short that I wrote, produced and acted in, all about Valerie, that really, the purpose for that was to almost break my typecast. If I'm getting cast, I found I was getting cast in similar roles, and I'm a sweet, lovely girl, which is amazing. I love it. I'd never say no to it. But I also wanted to show that there are other sides to me, and something else. So that's why creating your own content, and that's like we're big advocates for that. Is like just make something. We just had all our friends kind of get together. It was really tough. I'm not going to say it was easy to do, but really, really lucky that I had a really good team behind me, and then I was able to showcase a different side to me and what I can do. And I wanted to show that I could do a stunt. So I had a fight sequence. I wanted to show that I can dance. I included dance in that, like just to have all these different things that were almost just like a part of my show reel to be like, here's all the things that I can do, and I've got that experience now. So then directors and producers for feature films have the confidence in me to be like, oh, well, she's done something like that before.
Yes. Tell me, right now, do you have a certain dream character or project you would like to prepare for the future?
Yeah, well, I'm actually developing a children's show, so I'm going to horror world.
Really?
Yeah.
You are preparing to become a scream queen, I think.
Thank you. So I just love it. Like if I could get into a film set, there's no genre that I'm against or anything. Like I would actually just love to be acting full time. That is the ultimate dream. So this children's show is really exciting. Something I want to probably just put up on YouTube to start and see where it goes. But me as a presenter, and then I have a puppet Carlia who's the voice of the child. So we go on different journeys together and interactions. And because I come from a teaching background, I've based on the as well.
This is very nice. Carlia,
it's so different.
And how is your Italian?
Oh, not so good.
Poquito? Poco. Okay.
I grew up with my grandparents who spoke Italian to me, and I just wish I spoke Italian back. Like my mum would speak Italian to her mother, but when I was around, they would speak Italian to me. I could understand a lot more, but I would always respond in English. And that's just a regret of mine. But now I feel like I have to pick it up again because I really do want to lean into my Italian background as well.
And your parents have seen some of your horror films.
Yeah.
What is their opinion? Because you sent me some photos from behind the scenes as well.
There's a photo of me with my snout.
Well made makeup. Yes, a very interesting makeup.
Makeup artist Tanya Ross is amazing. The special effects that she can do is so cool. And that was just so fun to be like, what did you do today? Oh, I just scalped someone's hair and I just had blood all over me.
And that's okay. Part of the job. Okay. Ok, Carlia, grazie mille por esta entrevista. Thank you very much for this lovely live. And I wish you all the best in your upcoming project as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be reviewing your new projects, and when you have a new one you would like to come and talk about it, you are most welcome again.
Of course. I'd love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Carlia. Ciao. Bye-bye.